YouTube people, the hobby is addicted. We really are. We cannot help ourselves. I don't know if we're addicted to the process, the the thrill of it, the refreshing of the page of it, or just looking honestly straight up for a bailout. I've made a mistake. I need to recoup some money. I don't think it's going to be able to happen here. How can I possibly save this disaster? The hobby is addicted to grading. And I think it could be one of the biggest threats to grading in general. What do I mean by all this? Did the gem rate video yesterday. PSA 1.3 million cards, SGC hundreds of thousands of cards, CGC tens of thousands of cards, Beckett tens of thousands of cards. Every month, we're talking like between the four, I don't know, 1.5 million across all four companies. Obviously, a bulk of those are PSA, but still, let's just call it 1.5 million. 1.5 million pieces of cardboard stuck inside a piece of plastic with a number in the corner of it are put out into the world. Now, there's been a lot of chat recently about where those all end up, how many of them end up in repacks, this, that, whatever. But regardless, those cards get submitted. The grading companies make their $10 to $15 to $20 a pop, depending on what the card is. They get added to the pop report, sent out. The problem is, and this is where the addiction kicks in, and I don't want to, people can grade whatever they want. I'm not here to play that game. I hate when people go, oh my God, how could you possibly grade that card? So I don't want to necessarily play that game. But what we're specifically going to look at today is 2023 Topps Chrome baseball. I grade plenty of stuff that would make no sense to grade for most people. There's just certain things that I want in certain slabs. I grade a lot of Marvel cards. I like them in CGC slabs. I'm really not doing it for any monetary value. I like the look and feel of the card in that slab in my hand for my collection. I am not planning on selling those cards anytime soon. 2023 Topps Chrome baseball, I think we can remove some of that. Most of this stuff, especially PSA stuff, is just getting back in people's hands from grading. If you were submitting this stuff and then immediately going to sell it, then it does matter who you send to, and it does matter what you're sending. If you're just grading to grade, peace be with you. Do whatever you want. It's your money. Spend it however you want. But a lot of these cards are specifically being graded to immediately put on the marketplace. And why I think this is actually potentially a negative and could come back and bite these grading companies in the butt. We're primarily going to look at SGC and PSA just because they have the most cards transact in a given time period. The amount of cards that come back that people are selling, and they are either losing money on, straight up losing money on, a relatively brand new product. This set came out in late July, early August at the National. So PSA stuff would just be, if you sent 60-day bulk, you just start and really be able to get that stuff back. SGC stuff obviously turns a lot faster. A little bit of a different story there. But how many times can you submit a card to grading, pay the grading fee, sell the card, and basically get kicked in the face because you actually lost money or barely broke even? At some point, doesn't everyone just kind of look around and at some point, are you just going to look in the mirror and go, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? And listen, guilty is charged. Look at some of my most recent PSA stuff. There was cards in there I should have never sent it. I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I sent an Adley Rushman's Titans in from Topps Chrome. It got a PSA 10. Perfect. Couldn't ask for a better situation. Absolutely perfect. It cost me $19 to grade that card. I have it on eBay for $25 Buy it now. Sitting. It's been sitting for a month. Even if someone binned it at full price, I would basically break even on that card. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have sent that card in for the first place. I think I needed like 1 or 2 more cards to get over the thing, and you get a little excited, and a couple early sales come in, and you see it's a $50, $60 card, and you're like, oh, this could be great. But by the time you get it back, the market shifts, everything downshifts, more stuff comes to the pop report, and you messed up. Happens to the best of us. Like I said, I've 100% said things I should not have, that I end up biting me in the butt on the back end when I go to sell it. Perfect example of that. I got the 10 and everything. Imagine if I would have got a 9. So what happens when at some point in time, you can only kick people so long and they just smarten up and go, I'm just not going to send these. Instead of sending, they're still going to send stuff in for grading. I'm not saying that they're not. But let's say they rip the box of Topps Chrome, and we'll use SGC as an example. They have the $9 special, or they had. I don't know if it's Bowman now. It's not Topps Chrome, but at the time they had a Topps Chrome special. And maybe there's 10 cards in there in the past. They're like, yeah, I'm going to send these all off. They get those 10 cards back. They make a profit on a couple. They get kicked in the face or break even on the rest. And they're just looking around going, what the hell did I just do? So the next time comes around and they're like, that was just a one-off. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. And then the same thing happens. And then the third time, maybe the fourth time, they go, you know what? Why am I sending all 10 of these? I'll just send 3 instead of all 10. These other 7 clearly don't make sense to grade. I'm selling them for less than what the grading fee is, or breaking even after eBay fees or selling fees or whatever it is. At some point in time, I think people are going to get smarter, and it could potentially negatively affect the influx of cards going to the grading companies. Now, this isn't going to happen overnight. Like, this is going to be a slow burn. But if I was the grading companies, I would be worried about this. And a lot of them will say, whatever, it's no big deal. People are going to still send their cards in. But once again, how many times can you kick someone in the face? Either that or grading prices need to come down lower. We're going to scroll through some examples. All I did, I went most recent, and I only went sold listings. I didn't even go completed. When you look at completed, you get a lot more noise because if anyone cancels a listing or anything like that, it shows up. But when you look at completed and roll through auctions that ended with no bids, is very eye-opening. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see. But these are actual sales that completed. Simple search query, 2023, Topps Chrome Baseball SGC. Ended most recently. So we can assume, let's just, for the purpose of this, we are going to assume a $9 grading fee. This does not include shipping to SGC, shipping back to SGC. You can assume that's going to get, microtransacted down as it's divided over 10, 20 cards or whatever. You just scroll through these. I mean, right off the get, this Albert Pujols X-Fractor. It sold for $19. Cool. It cost you $9 to grade it. eBay is going to take 10%. You made like $5 on that one. Listen, I'm going to respect the hustle. Not everyone starts, everyone got to start somewhere. So churning that $5 over and over again, eventually you'll build that up. Perfectly fine. We see some decent ones here, $25. Actually, oops, this person messed up. Ronald Acuna Jr. X-Fractor in an SGC 5. Someone binned it for $25. Why? Because that's probably like a $40 buyback card. So someone made some cash just doing that. We see some decent ones here, $400 obviously, $30 for this auto. Here's a perfect example. Gunnar Henderson, Topps Chrome base. Came back in SGC 9.5. It cost $9 to grade it. Factor in a little, let's just call it 10 to factor in the shipping, the taxes, the whole 9 yards. Let's just call it $10, nice and even. It sold for $14.50. eBay is going to take 10 or 15%, depending on, whatever you got going on over there. Let's just call it 10% to keep the math simple. You made $1.50 on that card. Here's a good one. This is a PSA 9 and an SGC 9.5. That's, let's assume, $10 in grading to the SGC, $20 in PSA grading. Let's assume they use the $19 special. Once again, I'm tacking $1 on for shipping, taxes, and whatever. So that's $30 in grading fees that they hammer priced for $26 before fees. So they lost like $10 on that transaction. And this is also assuming zero cost basis on the cards. You know, maybe they got it from ripping wax. Heaven forbid they actually bought the car raw for, you know, $2, $3, $4, $5 or whatever, depending on the card, and sent it in that way. Let's keep scrolling down here. You know, here's a 10. This worked out to perfection. They got a 10. It only sold for $25. Let's kind of scroll through here. Once again, and there's plenty of stuff selling over. You know, we got a 175 there. Perfectly fine. Like I said, it's not like people are going to stop sending in the grading. But if all of a sudden they become a lot more choosy, what happens to those monthly numbers? Here's a bunch right here. These all ended at auction. All right, here, nice card. Corbin Carroll, Pink Refractor. Came back at 9.5, $24.95. Not bad. You doubled your money up over your grading fee. Once again, we don't know what the cost of acquisition of the card was. These ones get a little messy. Here's an SGC 10. This is a green to 99 of George Kirby. Sold for basically the grading fee. Sepia Refractor, made a couple bucks on that one. Nice autograph there. Did real well on that one. Did real well on that autograph. 9.5. Sold for $2.25. Cal Ripken Jr., $7.50. $5.70. $2.25. Look at this. $2.25, $2.25, $2.25, $5.50. That got a 10. 9.5. I don't even care about the player. It's the fact that they sent the card in, because that gave business to SGC. And we're going to pick on PSA too in a minute. Just don't freak out, everybody. $9. This person listed it what they cost them to grade it. And cost to grade has no impact on secondary market sales. Obviously, look at these cards here that sold for $2 and $3. Here's the Titans Adley Rutschman that I was actually just talking about. In an SGC 10, in a 10. This worked out to perfection. They lost 50 cents on it. $9. This one sold for $69. Good job there. Those are crossed off. $2.75. This is an auto. A 10-10 auto. $10.50. And then here's a bunch of $12.99s, $11.99s. They basically broke even on these. Actually, probably ended up losing a little bit of money. Actually, they definitely lost money. Free shipping. Maybe they use standard. You can't use standard envelope on a slab. That's not going to work. But you kind of get my point here. If people smarten up, and you scroll through this list, I don't know how many cards are on one page of an eBay listing. I guess I could probably look. What is that? 60 cards? I don't know. Just scrolling through there real quick. What? Half those probably didn't sell for more than $15? I don't want to sit here and count real quick, but you kind of get the point. A decent chunk of those sold for less than that. What if all of a sudden people were like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm going to stop sending this stuff in. Now what happens? And remember, this is with $9 grading. This was a special. Enough picking on SGC. Let's look at PSA. Same thing. 2023 Topps Chrome Baseball PSA. Keep in mind, most of these cards would have just been getting back in people's hands, assuming they sent at, you know, the bulk level pricing. So let's just assume we're going to factor in, let's just call it $20 a card. I think the special was 19 that they were running, like when I sent mine in right before the National. We're going to round up a buck to keep the math simple. And, you know, you got taxes, fees, shipping to and fro. So obviously there's going to be plenty of stuff that sells for a decent amount. Here's an Anthony Volpe base, PSA 9. They listed it for $10 and they accepted a best offer on it. What do we got here? Nice, perfect, another example like the Adley Rutschman. Corbin Carroll, MLB Stars of MLB Chrome. Hit the PSA 10. Person was probably super excited. Yes, got the 10. Cool. You lost like $3 on it when you factor in eBay fees. Another one sold for probably about what it cost to get graded. Maybe broke even on that one. Here's that one that we looked at earlier. Someone listed this one at $20. Best offer, buy it now. Someone binned it. So they essentially broke even on that one. Michael Harris, PSA 9, Technicolor, $5.50. Brett Beatty, Green Wave, number to 99, $8. Here's another couple here, $20, $10. A little bit better on the PSA side. Here's $15. This is an Adley Rutschman, PSA 8, $15. that went for. They lost, what, $6-8 on that? Get some Bowman stuff, sneak it in here on this one. Silly eBay. $15.50 for a nice Josh Young PSA 9. So PSAs are holding up a little better, but not a ton when you factor in the $20 grading fee. PSA 9 on this one, $6 over on ComC. $21 for the Adley PSA 10. Here's those Titans cards. This is exactly what I got laying around. I guess my $25 is way too high. $16, $15, $13. That, I assume this is all the same seller. Price sent a bunch of these in. Lost about 50% value on those. $7.50 on that one. 15. That one went a little bit over. 15. $5. $8. $27. This person probably barely broke even. $13.50. You get the point. I don't need to go through every single one of them. There's $8.50. Once again, plenty that went over. But what if people just get a little more picky about what they're sending in? Instead of sending 10 cards, doesn't make sense to send these. I'll send them to ComC, sell them raw for a couple bucks. Screw the hassle of messing around, slabbing everything. At some point in time, I feel like people are going to smarten up on that. Maybe not. Like I said, I myself continue to make these same mistakes. Maybe it's just the nature of the beast. We think we're either addicted to it or we look at it like a bailout, like it's going to save us. I've lost so much money opening this box or buying these cards. Someone please save me. And we turn to the grading companies. Some cases they will, but more often than not, they're not, unless you're being really picky about what you're sending. If people smarten up on that, grading companies better watch out. That's all I got for you, boys and girls. Peace.